All right, good evening, everybody. Can you guys hear me out there? Yeah. Okay, excellent. It's 7 o'clock in the evening. We're going to start the City of Hermantown Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. It's September 21st, 2021. We're going to do a roll call of the members. Buckley Simmons, Corey Colquist, not here. Valerie Ouellette,
here.
Samuel Clark is not here. Shannon Sweeney Jorgensen, not here. Beth Winslow,
Here.
and John Geisler.
Here.
Thank you for that. Second up this evening is an approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion on that, please?
Simmons, motion to approve.
We have a first. Can I get a second?
Let second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Number 3 this evening is the approval of the minutes from the August 17th, 2021 regular meeting. Can I get a motion on that, please?
Beth Winslow, so moved.
Can we get a second?
Simmons, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Number 4 is public discussion. Is anybody here this evening to speak on something that's not already on this evening's agenda? Not seeing any. We will move on to number 5, this evening's public hearings. 5A is an application by a Luke Interest Minor for a special use permit for the construction of a 2-family home at 4012 Cedar. Property is located in an R3 zoning district. Eric, what do you have for us on this one?
Great, thank you. And actually, I'm going to roll back one more. I'd like to make an announcement that some of you may have received a notice in the mail on a special use permit at 5350 Miller Trunk Highway for the purpose of a special use permit for a mini storage facility. That has been withdrawn from the agenda for this evening. More than likely, we anticipate that coming forward on the October meeting. So for any of you here for that one at 5350 Miller Trunk Highway, that will not be on tonight's agenda. So great, thank you. Getting back into that, this is a special use permit for a 2-family residential structure. It's located in an R3 zoning district. The property is located at 4012 Ugstad Road. If you recall, members of the P&Z, approximately 2-3 months ago, this property had been subdivided into a flag lot. What is before us this evening is basically what we call the parent property. It was the initial property that had the existing structure on it. What the applicant is proposing to do is to remove that existing structure and in its place build a 2-family residential structure. This property is approximately 2.2 acres in size. There are some wetlands located approximately 175 feet east of Ugstad Road. We will require that the applicant at least delineate or mark the edges of that wetland, particularly as it relates to the future building of this structure that way, assuming it is approved. This lot does meet all the requirements of the R3 zoning in regards to 2-family homes, as far as the lot width, setbacks, and lot size that way. Once again, if this is recommended this evening, this would go then to the October 4th City Council meeting for City Council's ultimate decision at that point.
Thank you very much, Eric. By any chance is the applicant here this evening? If you are, could you please come up, state your name and address for the record, and give us any information you'd like to give us?
998 Cedar Road. Currently, the idea is we live like 600 feet down the road from this property, and my mother-in-law is suffering from the onset of dementia, and so we're looking to build a residence for her and my father-in-law live in. They are divorced, but very amicable with one another. Get closer to the grandkids, closer to us. Easy to place there, and that's about it. The structure, the house structure that was on the property has been removed. And I'm in the process of finishing that up as we speak. What all I got.
Perfect, sir. Commission members, any questions for Luke this evening? Any questions for Eric this evening?
So if I understand this right, it's not going to be used as a flag lot then? Or
Yeah, this property has already been subdivided.
Right.
So this is the 2.2 original piece. The flag lot is already a new lot of record, and that is not what is before us this evening. It's the 2.2 acre lot.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Luke, I don't think any of the rest of us have any questions. We're going to have a public hearing here, and if there are any questions that come up, perhaps you can answer them for us. Okay, thank you. We're going to open it up for a public hearing at 7:06 this evening. Is anybody here to speak on this matter? Not seeing any, we will close the floor at 7:06 as well. Commission members, this is your chance for any other questions or comments on this evening. Not hearing any, I look for a motion on 5A this evening.
Simmons, motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Can we get a second?
Well, let's second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much, sir. Next up this evening is 5Z. It's an application by Barb Struck for a subdivision to create a 100-foot wide parcel of 1 acres and a 4-acre lot assessed by the way of a flag lot that's 65 feet wide at 3965 Haynes Road. Property is located in an R3 zoning district. Eric, what do you have for us on this one this evening?
Great, thank you. Similar to what we've seen the last couple of months here this is a flag lot proposal here for this lot along Haynes Road. This is an existing 5-acre lot. And like I said, the frontage on the property is approximately 165 feet in width. So what is being proposed today is a lot creation of 100 by approximately 403 feet for about 1 acre in size. That lot will contain the existing home that is on that property right now. And there's also a flag lot that will be created. That parcel, basically, we always classify these flag lots as 2 different things. The pole portion, which actually contains the driveway and has a frontage on the roadway. In this case, that flag lot is approximately 65 feet wide by 403 feet. That's the pole portion. And then the flag lot is 165 by 914 feet for that. So all told, that's approximately 4 acres for that. There's an existing garage style structure that's within this pole portion of the lot right now that will be required to be demolished prior to any
driveway that goes up.
any residential permits associated with the lot.
Perfect, Eric. Thank you very much. Commission members, any questions or comments for Eric on this so far? Not hearing any. Is the applicant here this evening? Could you come on up, state your name and address for the record and tell us a little bit about your project? And see if we have any questions for you.
3997 Haynes Road is my address. 3965 is the one I'm proposing.
Perfect.
You didn't tell me I had to speak.
You're doing great. Thank you.
You're doing great, ma'am.
I don't have anything additional to add.
Nothing planned for the use of the lot when it's split, just a couple homes?
No, I'm going to keep it for
Okay.
now, no plans.
Perfect. Commission members, any questions for her?
Thank you.
Not seeing any, ma'am. Thank you. We're going to open up the floor for a public discussion on this matter. It is currently 7:09 in the evening. Is anybody here to ask any questions or speak on this particular matter? Not seeing any, we will close the floor at 7:09 PM. Commission members, any other questions or comments on this evening? Then I will look for a motion on 5B.
Winslow, I make a motion to accept this.
Yes. We have a first. Can we get a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much, ma'am. 5C is an application by Jesse Stokey for an amendment to the development plan associated with Pine View development for the purpose of modifying the plan to accommodate a 2-family home. Eric, what do you have for us on this one?
Great, thank you. This development has a little bit of history here at the city. This was originally proposed back in 2004. At that time, it was envisioned that the Pine View development was an entirely twin home development associated with it. A vast number of twin homes had been completed within that project. Housing market started drying up, coming around 2008 or so. So in 2010, the developer at that time approached the city council asking for the ability to have some single-family homes placed within this development in lieu of these twin home properties. At that time in 2010, city council was receptive to that and did make a modification to the development plan, part of the PUD, to allow for these single-family structures. There were no changes to the plat associated with it. The requirements were that 2 of the lots would need to be utilized for one single-family lot. When this was originally developed in 2004, like I said, individual lots were platted, utilities were platted to each, or installed to each property as well. The applicant before us now, Jesse Stokey, purchased 2 of these lots in the development earlier this summer and is now looking to essentially reverse back to the original plan back in 2004, where he has the ability to construct a twin home on these 2 parcels in lieu of the single family home. As I'd mentioned before, this is what had been originally envisioned as part of that 2004 project. There's a twin home basically on both sides of this project, so it's in fitting or keeping with the rest of the neighborhood that way. And as I said before, there are existing utilities to both lots. So the twin home structure would be able to be served for each unit with its own individual utilities that way. So what we're looking for this evening is an amendment to this development plan associated with the PUD. This would require the ability or the city council action on this in the October 4th meeting as well.
Thank you very much for that, Eric. Commission members, any comments or concerns about this one? Any questions for Eric? Not seeing any. Is the applicant here this evening? Sir, could you come on up, state your name and address for the record? Give us a little backstory, please.
Jesse Stokey, 4914 Trails End Drive. Basically, I think it was pretty much summed up with Eric. I bought the property for the purpose of a twin home. And that's all I'm looking to do. I'm not looking to change anything else. Just put what was originally in there and what's surrounding it now.
Just out of curiosity, you're gonna rent one side and live in one? You're gonna sell them both, rent them both?
Don't know, I got my parents on the hook for one, I hope, and then maybe sell the other one.
Perfect. Thank you very much for that. Commission members, any comments or questions for the applicant? Thank you very much, sir. Okay, we're going to open up the floor at 7:13 for a public hearing on this matter. Is anybody here to speak on the twin home application, which is 5 this evening? Not seeing any, we will close the floor at 7:13. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you back there. Come on up, please state your name and address for the record.
Good evening. My name is Bill Pago, and I'm a resident at 84 Twin Pine Street.
Thank you, Bill.
I have some questions here I'd like to address probably to the owner builder, and I'm sure that he can probably answer them.
Is that something you want to do privately or on the public record?
Up here just so I make sure that I have some neighbors that are here as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
What you're trying to do, and this I can address to you and you as well. What codes are you not following by what you're proposing to do?
What codes is he not following?
Go ahead.
No, I guess the question is, when you say codes, are you talking about building related codes, zoning related codes, or what, I guess I need a little clarification to help answer it a bit more.
Probably would be the zoning codes, because as you described in giving the history of the property, all set up to handle twin homes, and then because of the economics of the time, if things were changed. It sounds like you're going back to the original plot.
That's all the original plot and the original plan that was there in 2005, 2004.
I'm not looking to change anything. So in 2010, Aaron said the market dried up for twin homes.
Right.
The builder came and said, hey, if you can only put a single family home in there, with the idea that single family home. So basically, I'm just looking for comfort. Hey, you can either put a single family home there, or you can go back to do it. So I'm not looking to change the structure of your development or change it. I'm just doing it original plan.
Thank you.
That's
The property, there's actually, this is for my ignorance too. The property there that's up for sale there, it looks like there's 2 parcels of land there. Did you buy both parcels of land, or is there just, or did you just buy 1 parcel?
So basically, before I purchased it, 4 plots. There was, I think it's like 17, 18, 19, and 20. I bought 19 and 20. I know there is where it was built. The stuff that's still for sale with the trees on it is 2 other plots that are still.
Okay.
But yeah, I just bought the 2 that are still.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Would anybody else like to come up and speak on this matter this evening? Everybody's good? Okay. Then we're going to close the floor at 7:17 PM for 5C's public hearing. Commission members, any other questions or comments for Eric or the applicant on this one? Not seeing any. I look for a motion on 5C.
Well, I would move to approve 5C.
We have a first. Can we get a second?
Simmons, the second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you very much, sir. Next up this evening, we're going to combine 5D and 5E this evening. They're an application by BMAX Inc. for a preliminary and final plat of 32.3 acres for the creation of a 7-lot land subdivision. This property is located at 5189 West Arrowhead Road in an R3 residential zoning district. So by combining those, we'll have 1 vote this evening. Eric, what do you have for us on this one?
Actually, if I could ask Mr. Wickland, is it possible for you to get the location map and the associated plat with this up on the screen, please? Great, perfect. We'll start right here. So what's before us this evening is it's a preliminary and final plat as well as a preliminary and final PUD. What the applicant, BMAX Inc., has done is they have purchased 2 properties in this area. One is located at 5189 West Arrowhead Road, and the other one is located at 4371 Grouse Ridge Drive. These 2 properties have existing single-family homes on those. In between those 2 properties, they combine for approximately 32.3 acres in size. So Joe, why don't you go to the plat? I believe it's the next one. Thank you. Just for a point of reference, Arrowhead Road is on basically the right-hand side of the screen, and Grouse Ridge Drive is at the top of the screen that way. So as I had mentioned, if we look at lot 6 down in the lower right-hand corner, that's where the existing home at 5189 West Arrowhead is located at. And then on lot 3, that's where 4371 Grouse Ridge Drive is located at. So what the applicant is proposing this evening is taking these 2 lots that include 32.3 acres between them and reorientating the interior property lines associated with that in order to create 7 residential lots. So how they're able to come up with that is right now, the vast majority of this acreage is associated with 5189 West Arrowhead Road. So what they're proposing, and I'll start down on Arrowhead Road there initially, what they're proposing is 4 lots will take access from Arrowhead Road. Lot 6 will have the existing home on it. Lot 5 will be a future R3 sized lot. When I say that, that's 100 feet of lot width and a ½ acre of lot size. Lots 4 and 7 are essentially flag lot creations with that. And that's the reason for the PUD before us this evening, is the PUD allows us to create multiple flag lots associated with this plat. It has nothing to do with any other sort of development associated with this. This evening before us is strictly a land subdivision project. Should something come further in the future, the city will also go through the same process where we notify property owners 1,000 feet around this property. There will also be public hearings associated at the planning and zoning like we're having this evening. And then ultimately it would go to the city council for a vote at that point. So now as I move over to Grouse Ridge, right now that existing home is, for the most part, parallels the entirety of Grouse Ridge. So what the applicant is proposing is to reorientate that lot, particularly lot 3, to have that existing home on it. And now that becomes a ½ acre minimum size lot with the existing home on it. Lot 2, just to the north of that, is a potential future building lot associated with that. Once again, R3, 100 feet of frontage, ½ acre in size. And then the large entirety of lot 1, that is a parcel that, it's my understanding, is going to be potentially sold to an adjoining property owner who lives just north of this as well. And that would be a flag lot configuration. At this point, there's no plans for that lot. The city has not heard of any plans for that, nor been approached for any plans on that particular lot. As I mentioned before, this is strictly a lot subdivision associated with this, taking the 32.3 acres that's currently combined in 2 different properties, and in turn turning it into 7 new lots associated with it. 5 of the lots will be for, future homes, et cetera, that way, and 2 of the lots have existing homes on it today right now.
Gotcha.
All the lots will be required to utilize city utilities and hookups associated with it, and go through that prudential process. And as I said before, any other development that could occur in any of these lots would go through the same process as I mentioned previously.
Thank you for that, Eric. Commission members, any discussion or questions on this one so far this evening?
Just to clarify, I know you said it twice, this is just the subdivision, not any other wetland problems or anything else at that point.
That is correct. This is strictly the taking of 2 lots,
And then-
combining in, and then reconfiguring them into 7 lots.
Okay.
That is
Thank you.
correct.
Eric, is lot 4 and 7 basically just a flag lot? Is that what we're looking at doing there? Is reconfiguring those?
Joe, could I get that plat up again? I believe it's thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, that is correct. That is correct, Mr. Simmons. It's 4 and 7 or 4 and 7 and 1 are essentially flag lots is what they are.
Right.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Commission members, any questions or comments again on this for Eric before we open it up to the applicant? Not hearing any. Is the applicant here this evening? Please come up, state your name and address for the record, and give us a little backstory, please.
I am Jay Zierden with Zierden Builders and also with BMAX Incorporated. I've been building homes in Hermantown for over 30 years. My address is 4571 Martin Road. And I guess the plat is pretty self-explanatory. I bought these parcels and just reconfigured it so that the lots made more sense. And it gives me an opportunity to build 4 new homes there, as well as creates a developable area for some time in the future. But that portion, lot 1, I already have a purchase agreement on with one of the local residents there. So I don't have any intentions of developing that at this time. nor does the person that I'm selling it to the best of my knowledge.
Okay. Commission members, any questions for Mr. Zierden this evening? None right now, Jay. You might be back up. Thank you. We're going to open up the floor at 7:26 PM for anybody that'd like to speak on this matter this evening on 5D or 5E. And just keep in mind that it's just a lot reconfiguration this evening. There's nothing else on the agenda. Would anybody like to come up and speak? Come on up, please state your name and address for the record, one at a time. Hi there.
I'm Tanya Nichols. I'm at 5125 Cedar Ridge. And I know the lot division is the only thing on the radar. I guess I'm curious, is it possible to understand a little bit more clearly how some of those properties will be reached or the future development would be reached? Like what kind of roads would be coming in to access 4 and 7? And
As of right now, all 7 of the lots are accessible off the existing infrastructure.
And as a part of this process, there are no other easements or anything to reach that back lot?
No, like I said, all this is a lot subdivision. There's no development plans associated with this. This is a creation of 7 lots. 4 of the lots will take access from Arrowhead Road, and then 3 of the lots will take access from Grouse Ridge.
Help me understand the Grouse Ridge one again. Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
Joe, could you bring the map back up on the screen, please?
So which number lots would be reached by Grouse Ridge?
Uh,
The 2 directly,
We have the existing home, which is, if you want to look on the screen above there, the existing home, which is lot number 3.
yeah,
Number 2, which is a potential building site there. And then lot 1, which is a potential building site sometime in the future. And if you look above that, Joe, put your cursor up where Grouse Ridge is. That's Grouse Ridge
Yeah.
Road, your Grouse Ridge Drive at that portion. So those 3 lots directly abut Grouse Ridge Drive.
and so number 1 is reached by some sort of,
It'll be a legal lot. There's no road or anything like that. That will have legal frontage onto Grouse Ridge by way of the planned unit development.
okay, so that's nothing that's worked out now. That's all when and if the project opened up and there needed to be a road come through, that would be up at that time.
If that ever came forward, that would be addressed at that time. And as I said too, we would have the same format as this, as property owners notified, property owner would be required to post a sign. We'd notify people 1,000 feet associated with that. There'd be a public hearing like we're doing here as well. Plans would have to be submitted to the city engineer as well as our fire and safety departments as well for their review.
Okay.
So it's a lengthy process to go through, if a development is ever proposed on that future lot.
And are we allowed to express concerns about that here right now?
It's honestly wouldn't be taken under consideration. It's just a lot split this evening.
Okay,
It might not ever come back to us, Tanya. I understand your concern if there's a future road going in and 30, 40, 50 lots back there, but there's no inclination of that happening today.
right. And really, it's just the 4 and 7 that eliminates the option for a road coming through there, which I think is a concern for us as homeowners. Is if the lot split happens, then will that eliminate the possibility of the project coming in off of Arrowhead? So that's our concern. And then all of a sudden the project comes in off of Grouse Ridge, which is just, I'm all for development. I'm
Sure.
a capitalist, but at the same time, it just seems like it would be to save some spot for it to be able to come through on Arrowhead. But thank you.
I appreciate it. Thank
I
you.
understand her concern.
Anybody else would like to come up and speak this evening on this matter? Please come on up, state your name and address for the record.
Hi, my name is Andrea Wetmore. I live at 4395 Grouse Ridge Drive. My question was about, I believe I read something on the sign that said something about a twin home. Is that for lot 2? Okay, so lot 2 will be a single family home? Okay, that was my only concern. Every lot in our neighborhood is a single family home. So, okay, thank you. That was it.
Thank you very much. Would anybody else like to come up and speak this evening? Do you have any questions or comments? Time.
Efficient to buy Owen's
Come on up,
property.
sir. Please state your name and address for the record.
What I'm asking is lot 5, did you say it was 100 feet wide?
I'd have to look.
The, actually, I think it's a little wider than that. That's the one with the existing home on it.
No.
No,
Actually, oh, thank you.
Lot, I'd have to look at the
Yep.
map again.
Yeah. I can't really-
Lot 5 is off of Arrowhead.
Yes.
I know that the depth is 220, and so, and it's a minimum of 100 feet wide. So it
How do you
might be.
build a home on that? Perhaps with the setbacks. We just built a home and you have to have 45-foot setbacks. How are you gonna get a house in there?
The setbacks in the side yard are minimum of 10 feet and aggregate of 25.
Yep.
That's in the R3 zoning district. You might be in a different zoning district, but that's the R3 requirements. It's a half-acre minimum lot size, 50 feet of front yard, 40 feet of rear yard, and that, like I said, 10 feet minimum side yard, 15 or 25-foot aggregate.
That was, I guess, my question, because I'm just a half a mile from there and I must be a different zone.
Do you have a single-family home or a twin home that you had? Single? I'm not quite sure where they got that from, because that's the standard zoning. It's been that way for at least 5 years.
That's what I followed, the rules you just gave. But on a 100-foot lot, you couldn't follow those rules.
It could be.
You could still have a 75-foot wide home essentially on that. So it's, I mean, that's our standard lot that we have in all of our subdivisions that way. Is a half acre with those type of
You have to
dimensions.
go 45, 45, and 50 to the front.
I guess I'd have to look into the records of that one, but it doesn't seem to
I
make sense with the
just
existing.
was wondering how you put a house in a 100-foot lot, that's all.
Sure, no, like I
I have
said,
no
that's,
concerns about, it, just wondering how that one would work.
yep, no, in Jackson Estates that we permitted back in 16, Peyton Acres, which we're just currently going through right now, it's the same thing. I mean, minimum of 100 feet lot width.
Because it just sounds different than when we built 2 years ago.
Hmm.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you very much, sir. Would anybody else like to come up and speak this evening? Come on up, please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Nicole Dorn, 5131 Cedar Ridge Drive. I know you can't talk about it, but I just want to say kind of collectively, I feel as a group, we think it's kind of sneaky the way they're blocking off Arrowhead when we want that to be an access, if there is going to be a large development that goes back there. I get it's not on the table now, but if it gets all landlocked, then where are they going to go? They're going to have to go through our neighborhood. And that's, I guess, kind of some of our concern. I know he's busy with a lot of other developments, so I just didn't know if the long-term plan was to sell lot 1 back to him, if that's been talked about, I guess.
That I can't answer. I think the applicant said he had a purchase agreement in hand for somebody to buy that lot from him already.
I guess we've just heard that he's so busy and we understand that he's a great builder and we're not against building, but we just want transparency with our neighborhood. And by not talking about the development and pretending like it's not going to happen isn't helping that for us. It just seems very frustrating that we're saying, hey, if you're going to have a development, can you consider going off Arrowhead like they did by the hockey arena and leave kind of us alone and not increase traffic, tear up our road, cause problems. And you guys are saying we can't talk about that because it's not on the table, but it's coming.
Actually,
on the
ma'am,
table.
there's no
There's nothing.
application. There's not been any discussion at staff level. We are being transparent with you and the neighbors that way. And honestly, if something comes through, the city staff will look at that. Is there ability to potentially get to Arrowhead?
But then we're going to say we want to go through Arrowhead and then there's going to be houses on there. So there's no access.
When we look at plans, the part of it is how does this, when there's adjoining acreage to it, we look at options that doesn't make sense to require an access to that. We look at different things like Peyton Acres, for instance, that we just proposed and approved. There's a requirement that it has a side, basically connection to future land. Sterling Ponds, that's the same thing. There's developable land to the north of that. We have a 66-foot right of way that accesses that to that. If and when Mr. Zierden comes forward on those 2 flag lots, we'll have to look at that design. Does the city staff require that there's a bench, basically an out to the north? Those are things that we would look at as plans come in. But as of now,
Tell us future plans. I mean,
there are no future plans.
I mean, he knows his future plans.
Other than he needs to share them with me. There's been,
Okay, that's all we want to know is just hear, from you, what are you thinking? We don't want, okay, well, because we're worried that Cedar Ridge is going to get pushed out to Lake. I mean, there's a lot of concerns with that. And we just don't know. And now if we're feeling like Arrowhead's being blocked off, now we're really feeling like all the traffic's going to be routed on Grouse Ridge, and we just want transparency, and we just. Yeah.
If you look at, it's not accessible.
Okay, we were wondering that, yeah.
So no matter what I do, it's not a viable option to get back up.
But if you do build back off Grouse Ridge off lot 1, if he sells it back or you buy it back, you're gonna have to have a second outlet, right? Is that how it works? And then that would have to be our road.
There are lots of.
Because, our friends on Grouse Ridge are worried about the traffic and the road, there's just a lot of concerns. And if you guys are kind of saying we can't talk about it, then we're frustrated because our concerns aren't being heard because it's not in the works yet, but it's coming. So that's what we're trying to be proactive about, I guess. So I appreciate your transparency, and that's all we want. And we just don't want it to be snuck in there somehow that, okay, now we're landlocked and now it's coming out our road. So I guess that was my concern. So.
Thank you very much. Anybody else this evening like to come up and speak on this matter? Please come on up to the podium, state your name and address for the record.
I wanted to speak necessarily in favor or against this, but I do have some comments.
Could we get your
or
name
some-
and address, please?
My name is Shannon Sweeney Jorgensen.
Oh, I didn't see
And-
that on the corner there, Shannon.
And I am a member of this committee, but because I am not in attendance, I do not have a vote tonight. But I do have some questions about this, simply because I understand the previous speaker's concerns. I didn't catch her name because she was walking up to the podium as she stated her name. But my questions would be, at this point, do we have a final map of what the lots within that planned unit development would look like? I don't believe so, at least from what I'm seeing in the agenda packet. And so my comment to her would be that since we don't have that, but that would have to come before us again, we have another opportunity to consider what his plans are, what the plans for that specific development are. And so at that time, it would be very beneficial to have those neighbors who are concerned about, what the access is going to wind up looking like, and how they might feel about that. Right now, at least from what I'm seeing, is that we're just approving that a planned unit development can go there, but we don't have the final plans for that, unless I'm mistaken, and I'd appreciate being corrected on that if that's the case.
No, Shannon, I think you have it correct. I think this evening we're just looking at creating 7 lots out of the existing property. None of us have seen anything with a road or other houses or other utilities being punched into any single one of those lots. As far as I'm concerned right now, it's 2 existing single-family homes and the potential to build 5 others.
Right. I appreciate that clarification, and I feel like the neighbors probably appreciate that clarification too, that there will be additional opportunity for input on what the final plans are.
And Shannon, Eric Johnson here. The only reason this is a planned unit development is because they have 3 flag lots associated with this. And that's what's kind of confusing, is traditionally when you see planned unit developments come forward, it means multiple homes, townhomes, twin homes, whatever. But in this case, rationale for the planned unit development, and this is work with our city attorney, is because there's 3 flag lots. And that's the only rationale why this is a planned unit development. Essentially, if those lots would have been 100 feet wide, this would have been a standard plat that way. So that is the only reason this is a planned unit development, is because 3 of the lots have less than 100 feet of frontage along the roadways, whether it's Arrowhead or whether it's Grouse Ridge.
Great. Thank you so much for that clarification. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Shannon. Wish you were here tonight.
Okay, now I do have a question, bringing that up. So lot 1, I realize we're not talking about developing that right now. But in 10 years, if that were to be developed, hypothetically, how would it be accessed and would it have an access and an egress?
We'd have to look at a site-specific.
But is there a right of way for that in this plat?
Lot 1 would have legal access onto Grouse Ridge. And until a time comes when there would be a proposal, that's all the information we have.
Okay, so right now, there is nothing set aside for any kind of roads or utilities
Nope.
going in there?
Because this is just a lot subdivision is all that
Okay.
this is.
All right.
Yep, this is not
And-
a development per se, it's a lot subdivision.
And when you have a lot subdivision, you do not have to allow to accommodate a right of way at any point then?
Well, it's just, if you look back earlier in the agenda, we just approved a flag lot.
Mhm.
Essentially, what you're doing is approving a flag lot. And in this case, we have 3 flag lots, hence the PUD.
Essentially, this could have been 3 separate flag lots.
Exactly. And that's initially in discussions, there was a question of, could this even have been done administratively? But since the fact that Grouse Ridge is an existing plat, we said, no, it needs to go through the platting process that way.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions or comments? Anybody want to come up and speak on this evening? Come on up, ma'am. Please state your name and address for the record.
Amy Abernathy, 4366 Grouse Ridge. I just have a question. Is within this development of this new division, is there any easements or anything being put on any of the properties to get back to to get back into that property?
Well, that's what the creation of Lot 1 does. Lot 1 is probably 18 acres in size.
Okay,
And this would have legal access onto Grouse Ridge. So there's no other needs for easements that way. That, the same thing, there could be a single family home there someday and with a long driveway. It could be an estate type of property that way. Could it be a future proposal? Maybe it could be, but at this time, there's no proposal for that.
okay. Can I ask Mr. Zirin a question? The twin home, so it says there's 4 single family lots. Are those on Arrowhead?
Yes.
Okay, and then there's 2 twin home lots? Are those going to be on Grouse Ridge? Okay.
Those are the ones on Arrowhead.
Oh, okay.
Yep, all that's being proposed is 3 lots on Grouse Ridge. The existing single-family home,
Okay,
the home to the north of it, which has an R3 dimensions,
okay,
and then the lot 1, which is the large 18 acre, which is essentially a flag lot.
okay.
So if there's any, at least twin homes in the near future, it may be something coming off of Arrowhead on those lots. I can't remember the 2 numbers now. Yeah.
5
Yeah.
and 6, or 4 and 7 are the flags.
4 and 7 of the
Mhm.
flags, yep.
All right, okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Tanya, you can come up again. Come on up.
Would it be reasonable? I mean, if lot 1 isn't going to be developed right now anyways, is it reasonable to not give lot 1 legal access to Grouse Ridge? Is that a stupid question?
I
Because
feel-
that would solve it for everybody. I mean, if it's
We
really not
we do not
developed-
have the ability to create a lot without access.
Right.
We'd be creating a landlocked parcel, which we cannot do.
We did this years ago when we did the development behind Valentini's. There was a lot in there that had access to the road and it ended up being about a 12.5 acre lot and somebody built a beautiful 7,000 square foot house right in the middle of it. You don't know what it's going to be today. I hate to say that, but it's true. You know, just because it's a large chunk of acreage doesn't mean it's not going to be somebody who just wants to live in the middle and not see their neighbors. You know, we're just creating a lot today.
Yep, and to plat the lot, it needs to have an access onto a public right of way.
Okay.
So by not having that strip on there, we'd create a landlocked parcel, which could create many issues in the future.
And so that's just completely not done in practice ever.
We try to avoid that wherever possible because it's just bad planning. Because you're setting yourself up for failure.
Okay.
Mhm.
Or you guys are, or the builder is, or the buyer of the property.
But he said, we've created an unbuildable lot by not having access to it. And the same thing, I mean, even the way our zoning ordinance is written is we cannot do that.
But if the owner of that property already has legal access, then wouldn't that cover that?
The legal access is what's being proposed tonight onto Grouse Ridge. They do not have legal access
To
at
any other
this
road.
point.
Correct.
Because the way that existing Grouse Ridge home is orientated, it takes up the entire frontage of Grouse Ridge. So by them reorientating that from a parallel lot to a perpendicular lot.
But
they're
the
now creating-
purchase agreement, the buyer of the property does have access to Grouse Ridge is what I'm saying. So then wouldn't they have legal access to that? And therefore we could avoid the need for creating the road now?
They'd have to, there's no road. There's no road.
Or
They would have to,
access.
they would have, right now, even for us to plat it, we have to have legal access. The owner may choose to, in the future, combine those two properties and go that route,
But
which they may
because it's
want
separate,
to.
it has to be.
Yep,
separate.
exactly. In order to create the lot, it has to have frontage.
Okay.
If somebody wants to
thank
put a road in a bunch of lots, they'll be back here and you guys can all come see us again. And I would welcome it because I haven't seen anything on that yet. And
I'd
Tanya's
like
known
to
me
go
for a
twice.
long time. Any other questions or comments this evening?
I do just have one more follow-up comment, and that is just that, you know, I completely understand her concerns and the concerns of the other neighbors. And much as you said, there will be multiple opportunities, I think, for neighbors to comment on the ultimate plans for any development that would happen on this property. And so hopefully people will stay engaged in the process and continue to be concerned about, you know, what's happening in their neighborhood, but also understand that, you know, we have requirements as far as not creating a landlocked property, those kinds of things. So I look forward to future discussions on this.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Well, now, oh, come on up. I was going to give you one last chance. Please state your name and address for the record when you get up to the podium.
I'm Shauna Jokerman, 5119. And I guess I just have a couple questions about the twin home lots. Given that access could potentially go either way in the future, should that be developed? Currently, we don't have any twin homes in the area. I guess my question is why are they being put in this location? I see a lot of twin homes going in all over town, and there doesn't seem to be any rhyme or reason for where they're going in all the time.
Aren't there a couple right across Arrowhead Road? Right?
Yeah, there's two on the south side, and then there's one on the other side of Levake as well within the
Right.
last couple years. So to answer your question is twin homes are allowed in an R3 zoning district. And it's basically whether in the case of if you want to have two of them in close proximity, you go the route of what's called a planned unit development. If they have more than 200 feet apart, then it's strictly under R3 zoning, assuming it meets the lot dimensions associated with it.
Okay. And I don't have a problem with subdividing the lots. I'm just wondering if there's any requests that could be put in to make them single family lots. Given that unless I misunderstood the map, the driveways would be off.
Well, it's the same.
Yeah,
If Mr. Zierden, if he came in for an application with one twin home,
Mhm.
we could do it administratively. If he comes in with an application for two or more twin homes, assuming they're less than 200 feet apart, he has to go the route of the planned unit development. And that would trigger this whole process again. And that would be, any access off of a road that way.
So I'm clear. This process allows me to get one aspect of one lot, the other half, one day.
Okay.
This winter, I would like to do this process again. I would like to put two children there. But in order to do that, it's about.
Sure.
And at that point, I'll have like engineering, to like sewer and all that.
But the lots would already already be set up for that as of tonight?
No, right now, this process would approve rebuilding. Essentially, it creates rebuilding site. And instead of having side yard setback, they would just have 0 setback.
Okay.
So half of the building would be on lot 7, the other half of the building would be on lot 4.
Okay.
That's what this process is.
Sure. That makes sense. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. Any other questions or comments this evening?
Yes, I have one. Can you hear me and see me? I'm Jared Anderson.
I don't see you, but I can hear you. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, 4383 Grouse Ridge. I understand the decision here tonight is to how we're going to divide all this up. And the issue with lot 1, you can't be landlocked. Are we sure you cannot provide access to Arrowhead? All right, I want to make sure we're not being remiss here of just not providing access to Arrowhead when we're making decisions and dividing these lots.
Sir, I haven't seen anything for any new development. This evening, we're looking at making 7 lots that have existing homes on them.
Sure, I understand. But once you make the decision to divide it and you have the clear access, it makes it a lot easier when when the decision is going to be made on the home or the development, whatever goes back there. You know, I have 2 lots, my house and the lot next door. I'm going to be directly impacted by what the plans are on lot 1. So I just want to make sure that this body is looked at providing access to Arrowhead.
Again, I understand your concern. I've heard it from multiple people here tonight, but there is no plan for anything other than dividing these lots this evening. If somebody comes before us in the future with a plan to re-engineer lot 1 into something that's more than a single family home, we will have to address it at that time.
Yeah, because right now, the plat / PUD in front of us would have a legal access onto Grouse Ridge.
Correct.
So we would be essentially speculating wildly of something that may never happen. And by trying to essentially create lot 1 with an access to Arrowhead, it's same thing. I mean, it's speculation at best.
How many homes are past lot 1 entrance onto Grouse Ridge Drive today? Does anybody know that question?
Are you asking how many homes are on lot 1?
Yeah. Where lot 1 enters onto Grouse Ridge Drive, how many homes are past that today?
Oh,
Yeah, it goes down to a cul-de-sac or 2.
3, 4, probably 5. Yeah.
It splits, right? It's a Y. It's a Y back there, right? It splits. I've walked through there.
18 or 19 lots
18 or 19 homes now past that point.
past.
Yeah.
But isn't there a road off of Grouse Ridge that goes east? Right? That doesn't go through.
About 18 lots.
Right, so there's 18 lots, 18 homes past this entrance point, this potential entrance point onto Grouse Ridge. And we don't have a plan for anything behind there, but I mean, that's essentially the same thing could happen there. But again, nothing might happen there too. We don't have a plan in front of us this evening. It is just a lot split this evening. If somebody comes before us with a plan to put in 5 homes, 10 homes, 100 homes, you guys are all welcome to come back and see us again. But this evening, it's just a lot split.
Right, I understand that, but if you divided it in a way and provided access to Arrowhead, that would clear the way for whatever's going to be built on lot 1 to access it from Arrowhead, not down this Grouse Ridge. You're clearing the way for traffic to go down Grouse Ridge by dividing it the way you are.
I would reiterate that it is not accessible from Arrowhead Road. There is 1,000 feet of wetlands between Arrowhead Road and it's not accessible. No matter what happens on Arrowhead Road, it's not possible to get there from Arrowhead Road.
I think that site plan that Mr. Wickland has shows that all the wetlands.
Yes, it's.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now. There's a lot of wetlands between Arrowhead Road and even portion of potential lot 1.
Yeah, 4 and 7 are virtually 80% wetland.
Yeah.
Again, that's why I had asked the question, because there is so much wetland that you cannot do that. The DNR, the Corps of Engineers, Hermantown, everybody, wetlands are sacred here. And it just can't happen. Besides the fact the road wouldn't last a couple of seasons for that. So what can be in the Hermantown area is very limited to what we can do anyway. So I was more concerned with, is there enough room to even build anything there? Because there's so much wetland there.
Any other questions or comments this evening? I'll gladly take them. Come on up. Please state your name and address for the record.
5134 Cedar Ridge Drive.
Good evening.
Hi. So my question is, and maybe I just missed this, but lots 4 and 7, would those be accessed from Arrowhead or?
Yes. 4 and 7 are from Arrowhead.
Okay. I think, all right. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Any other questions, anybody? Please come on up. Not hearing any, we will close the public discussion.
I have a statement.
Oh, okay.
Excuse me, I'm Mary Murphy. I live at 5180 West Arrowhead Road. And I'm not crazy about flag lot 4.
Can you please explain why, Mary?
Well, I'm not crazy about flag lot 5 either, but because it's across the road. But 4 creates more of a problem because it's a smaller area than the 5 lot or the lot 5. But what's been said tonight about the size of the house and the size of the land and the frontage feet, I think that's too much additional traffic coming off onto Arrowhead Road. Right now, at between 7 and 8 in the morning when school's on, it's very difficult to cross the road in the mornings because cars don't stop, cars don't slow down. When the car can, obviously somebody's trying to cross the road to get from the sidewalk to the driveway. There is no reduction in traffic. The other day, it took 7 minutes to get a spot that was safe enough to cross. So Arrowhead Road is a thoroughfare already without additional houses coming onto Arrowhead Road. And it's just not because I used to play in the fields across the road when they were fields rather than just brush. But I used to play ball on the Symar Road too, which was before the Arrowhead Road. It was the same road, but it got a different name. But we don't have that much housing that close together anywhere else on the Arrowhead Road. So why should that land have more than houses every acre.
If I'm not mistaken, Mary, Eric can back me up on this or give me the proper information that the flag lots are allowed in the district. And that
Yes,
you
I
have to be
understand that.
larger than a half an acre, correct?
That's correct. We did share this plan, at least with the lot subdivision, with St. Louis County, Vic Lund, and they did not have any comments or concerns.
Of course not. They don't live on the Arrowhead Road in Hermantown. And they haven't lived there all their lives. Of course, they don't care. And they believe in progress. And progress is subdividing and subdividing and flag lotting and flag lotting. And Hermantown does that. I asked Mr. Anderson Mr. Johnson the other day, how much green space land does the city of Hermantown hold in reserve for the future generations? And about the only green space land that the city owns for future generations is wetlands. And that's pretty near everywhere, somewhere. But we have no plans for future generations to have green space, because we're so busy developing where, well, I'm not going to talk anymore. This is wrong, but I understand the rules. And I understand that far before we were in R3, I shouldn't have to have a say. I shouldn't be able to have a say because, gee, we're originals to the Jackson project. And we're supposed to be keep our mouths shut now because we have zoning and we have plotting. And now we have, since, what did you tell me, 2008? We have flag lots. But we shouldn't be so generous with our flag lots. And we should maintain an acre of frontage, and at least 100 frontage feet. In my opinion, and this was the opportunity for my opinion. And so I took it, and so I'll shut up.
Mary, thank you very much for everything that you do, and of course, your words this evening. We do thank you for that. Anybody else want to speak this evening? Just coming up again. Give me your name and address again for the record.
4366 Grouse Ridge. So this brings up, this is future, but does the city have an amount of, in a residential cul-de-sac, such development, in and out? How many people live to have it in and out, not just a one-way? So the development has to have two accessible roads. Is there a number of how many houses have to be in there, or residents living in there?
I don't know if
You
there's
have
a,
to have an in and out?
I don't know if there's a set hard number.
No, there's not. What we do is like I said, we send plans out to multiple, within the city, the fire department, the police department. We vet these things even from St. Louis County with their traffic engineers and look at it that way. We look at it a case by case basis. Back in 2004, your subdivision was planned to have an out onto Levake Road. There still is right of way in place on Cedar Ridge for that access. But at that time, council, they did not require that at that time. We're going through another project right now. That same thing, the city has right of way. We're requiring in that case that there's an access to two different points.
Okay.
So like I said, whenever we have the ability, we're trying to get more than one way in and out of a development, just for a multitude of reasons.
So
But
would
the
there have to
forefront-
be so many more houses back there before you punched out Levake Road to get that access to get in there? So you have a, or don't, you just-
As of right now, there's no discussion about extending that piece of Cedar Ridge. Could there be in the future? maybe there could be. And even if this development never even happened, the city may take the stance of saying there's 20 plus some homes in a dead end cul-de-sac. We've got the ability to punch a road through, we should do it. And like I said, that could happen regardless of any sort of, development plans that way. Right now, no, there's no discussion for that.
Okay.
But I'm just saying that, when we have the ability to, we try to have multiple ingresses and egresses.
Okay, all right.
Thank you again, ma'am. Once again, anybody else want to speak this evening? Is there anybody online? Not hearing any, we will close the public hearing at 8:06 p.m. Commission members, any comments or questions still on this matter?
Mr. Chairman, I have a question of clarification. Perhaps maybe Mr. Johnson can clarify. Mr. Minor came tonight with a twin home development. Is that a similar process? What would have to be done with Mr. Zerden if he still chooses to put a twin home on one of these pieces of property?
The way we set this up initially too, with the PUD, is he could have the ability to build a single twin home on those two lots right now.
Okay.
But if he so chooses to come in for more than twin homes, then it would trigger a PUD process that way.
Right.
So we look at these kind of on different, what are our different applications that we have that way?
Yep, and that's how I understood it as well.
Sure.
So anything beyond that would be back again to this process.
That is correct, yes.
Thank you.
I don't know if anybody can hear me. Can you
Hi,
hear
Shannon.
me?
I see you, Shannon.
Hi. I'm sorry, I do have one more comment on this. And first of all, I want to thank Mary. Mary, I love you. You know that. And I completely appreciate your comments. Absolutely. And my hope is that out of this tonight, as we are considering this plan, is that the developer will consider the comments that they have heard and really take them into account as the plans for that planned unit development happen. I agree completely. As the city of Hermantown, we need to be very cognizant of what our green space is and the fact that it should not be entirely just wetlands. And so I'm hopeful that as the city enters into a comprehensive planning mode, which I understand is going to be forthcoming, I hope that the city council and others who serve to develop that plan are really cognizant of that fact. Our wetlands should not be the only green space that we have in Hermantown. We should be very cognizant of the fact that we have neighborhoods that are strictly single home neighborhoods that do not necessarily need high traffic. And also the fact that we have existing neighborhoods that already have high traffic, and any way we can help to abate that or improve that, we should be considering. So I do hope that the developer is paying super close attention to what they're hearing here tonight. And I hope the neighbors of these developments are really recognizing that what we're doing tonight is not a final decision about the layout and the access. It's just making room for a developer to create another neighborhood, another community within Hermantown. So those are my comments. Thanks.
Thank you again. Commission members, any other comments or questions this evening? Not hearing any, I look for a motion on a combined 5D and E this evening.
Simmons, and I'd like to make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. Can we get a second?
Winslow, I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Once again, thank you very much, everybody. When and if something comes before us, you're welcome to come back and see us again. This evening was just for splitting up the land.
And to help everyone out, this will be at the October 4th City Council meeting. You do have the opportunity to attend that as well. And maybe the opportunity for additional comments at that meeting also.
Thank you again. Moving on this evening, we have continuing business. Eric, I'm not seeing any.
Sorry, I'm just thinking back to conversation with our city attorney that I had earlier today. Basically, this gets back to the conversation that the item that was pulled from the agenda. In that case, it was we're starting to get the inquiries of the utilization of essentially storage containers for the use of mini storage type of facilities. So as of right now, in the ordinance, we're still picking through that. Does it mean that a building that you have a roof, it's a stick-built sort of structure that way versus piecing together shipping containers? This gets to also tax ramifications for buildings and things that way also. This is just something that I think, may have some more discussion at the P&Z level, probably in the next few months here. Right now, we're not discussing anything like moratoriums or things like that. But once again, we're starting to get some of these conversations or inquiries about that sort of use. So just wanted to kind of put it on your radar that way.
Thank you for that. Number 7, new business, not seeing any either. Number 8 is communications. Again, I'm not seeing anything on that. Number 9, commission member reports. Valerie, do you have anything?
No report.
Shannon, do you have anything?
I do. And this is just a personal comment. I know that we were all notified yesterday about the need to be in person in order to vote. And I appreciate that and understand that that's based on open meeting laws. However, watching the meeting tonight, I am very glad that I am not in person. And that is because clearly the city of Hermantown is not taking seriously the recommendations of the CDC and the Minnesota Department of Health regarding social distancing and mask usage in public spaces. And so I have to respectfully let the commission know that I will not be attending in person as long as we are seeing increases in utilization of our ICUs based on the impact of the Delta variant and the impact of unvaccinated folks. And so unfortunately, I will not be able to vote in the near future because of that. And I am disappointed, very disappointed in our city of Hermantown officials in not recognizing the importance of those recommendations and following them. So that is not necessarily a report, but it is my comment on how we are dealing with COVID-19. Thank you.
Duly noted. Thank you. Beth, do you have anything this evening?
No report.
Buckley?
No report.
Counselor Geisler?
I have 2 things. The city of Hermantown has had the pleasure of working with Mr. Steve Overman as our city engineer since the inception of the city way back in the 70s. And Mr. Overman has let us know for quite some time that he was thinking of scaling back his practice. And so the city went through a process of naming a new city attorney and interviewing a few different attorneys. Mr. Overman has now taken on Gunnar Johnson as an attorney working with him. So the Overman Law Firm will still be our city attorney, but Gunnar Johnson will be our official city attorney as of January 1st of next year. So that's exciting. Mr. Overman will stay on kind of as a backup and a good wealth of knowledge for everybody. So, and then secondly, if you haven't been out to enjoy the new trail, I hope everybody has and gotten out and we do have the benefit of some planning that we've been doing over the past several years and creating green space in the name of trails and other things. And that's, there are more trails to come. There's going to be a section between Hermantown Road and Keens Creek that'll be paved here in the near future. And once Morris Thomas is back open, you'll see that. So there will be a gap between Hermantown Road or Ingwalls and Morris Thomas. But as you know from plans in the in the Cedar development there is a plan to run that trail across and connect it. So, but if you haven't, get out and enjoy those trails because it's a beautiful asset to our community. So.
Very good. Thank you very much. And nothing from myself this evening. With that, we look for a motion to adjourn at 8:15. Can I get a motion?
Simmons, motion to adjourn.
We have a first. Can we get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We're going to close the meeting at 8:16 this evening. Thank you very much, everybody.